how we're going to design and create the center of the interest.
For our member of enjoyingart.com, I'm looking forward to seeing you in our fun and relaxing Friday painting together. If this is your first time to our channel, it's all about making art easy with relaxation. Please like, share, subscribe, and turn on notification. First, let me tell you the brushes that I'm using. I only use two brushes. One is a flat brush, it's gold here. Okay. Take care of the brush, just use the two fingers, right? Just softly massage it every time before you start using it. Okay. Now, the hair very soft, also remove all the bubble, all the air inside the brush here. Now the brush is ready to use. That's very sharp over here, very organized. And this is the calligraphy brush. The calligraphy brush can use for medium and small shapes. And the tip is very sharp, so it's very easy to control.
Center of interest not has to be at the center of the paper. So you think the center of the interest, it should be in the center. And then put something on the side. Yeah, obviously that's the center of interest. But what about I'm going to change it? Like say I'm going to have something over here, for example. Another way to make the center of the interest, that will be the opening. For example, I'm going to have something over here, the center of the interest. But it doesn't look like a center of the interest, not at the center. Why? Actually, right now, the only thing on the paper, it must be the center of interest. What about I'm going to wrap around this to get some other things, and I'm going to have something over here, a little bit soft. And I'm also going to wrap around over here to direct the attention all the way coming to this object. If this is the center of the interest, still the center of the interest. Even I have a lot of things on here. If they are soft around like this, and also create the idea of the U shape, and anything on the opening of the U shape would be the center of the interest, right? So there's not only one way to do center of interest. Let's talk about this particular reference. How can we make that center of the interest? So you have to have that in mind. And let me make one over here, like this. Here we go. Now I'm going to have the color. I'm going to put the center of the interest right over here, for example. That's what I'm going to intend to do. Okay, here you go. It's off the center. I'm going to have some soft things, the soft object in the back. But around her head would be a little bit lighter. And also I'm going to have some dark color. Okay, a little dark color over here. A little bit darker on this side. I'm going to have a little bit shape over here, but this is going to be less contrast. This is also helpful. This actually direct attention from here toward the main figure. Now on this side, I'm going to have something over there, something over here. But this is going to become a group continuous. I'm going to have them to become one group like this. And because of the arrangement and the center of the interest, it means going to be the center of the interest. Even I'm going to add other thing over here. So maybe I'm going to intentionally how to use the line and the shape to direct attention into this person and right over here. This is all about our design, how to make something to become the center of the interest.
To start this painting, I'm just going to do something really quick and just going to mix a gray color like that. In fact, I'm going to also have the illusions of the snow in the painting as well. So I'm going to do something really quick to create that feeling of the snowing. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start right over here. This is going to be the spot for the tree, right? Like this.
And I'm going to have a little bit more blue color. And this is going to spot for the house. Right over here. I'm going to leave a little bit for the side over here. Like that. Okay. Okay, coming down like this. And then some shape over here for the car. And here you go. Some little shape over here. I'm going to have the car coming out a little bit because the space on the road a little bit too big. So I'm going to have that come out over here. And this is the side of the side car of the car. Have the mirror. And I'm going to have something like this. That's good. And I'm going to show overall. Use the large brush. It will save you time and also force you to look at the connection between all the big shapes. And here you go. I'm gonna have it coming over here. We can sort through the shapes, making look like the car or whatever you have in mind. That will be fine. Like this. I'm gonna continue with the sky. I'm gonna have a little blue color. I know this is gonna break the shape all over again. But this is the only way you are going to have the illusions of the snow really quickly. And this side, I'm going to have start from what you're thinking in the mind and let the water do the work for us. And now coming on this side, this is the row have a little bit more blue at the front over here, like that. And they have a little bit warm color in the middle. We can overlay the warm color a little bit later, right? Now we have the whole page wet, and I'm gonna leave this spot and for her head to be a little bit lighter. So this would be her body. So I'm planning all this. Now I'm gonna come back in here and take a look at. I'm gonna pushing into the space for. I'm gonna have a little bit yellow color as well. So make it a little bit gray. Okay, now I'm gonna come back here again. So this is the side. Okay, I'm gonna come back over here. So this is the house. The house pushing in a little bit like this. Now here you go. I'm gonna add some even darker color for the feeling of the tree. But the tree shape is not gonna be as dark as the darkest shape because it need to be lighter. Okay, and so there is serve as a soft element. Okay, like that. That's the overall illusion. Do you get the illusion of the tree over here already? Now you can see the whole page is still wet, right? It's very wet. In the middle over here, I'm gonna have a little red color. Use the corner of the brush. I'm gonna tap over here and dilute it a little bit. Now I'm gonna put a little red color right in here. Right, that's the warm color. And now I'm gonna use the calligraphy brush. Now I'm gonna add some dark color, wet into wet. Mix the red and the blue into it. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to come in here to see this will be the bottom of the house. Okay, right over here. And some more details, we can add that a little bit later. I'm gonna, this area have a little bit more blue. Now here you go, take a look, and like this. I got one brush stroke coming down over here, and leave a little bit shape over here, and the top over here. Here you go, like that. And then the top over here, and this is the rooftop. Okay, something over here. Okay, a little shape over here as well. It's just thinking about what you are going to represent, what you're going to do. It would come together and it will show. For the car, for example, what Brooke said is, doesn't look like a car because you keep thinking about it's a car. Okay, think about the shape, and that's what I'm going to do. Just keep thinking about what's the shape look like. Okay, here you go. Okay, here you go. Like that. And Oh, actually I'm pointing to the car coming out over here. So I'm gonna make the color a bit wider than it has to be. Okay, like that, and catch the shadow on the bottom. Remind yourself that how much time you have, and I'm gonna put the catch the shadow over here on the top of the car. I'm gonna quickly draw those things. Okay, here you go. Draw a little shape, and like that. And the front over here is okay. If you have a snow effect or doesn't have the snow effect, it would be okay. I'm going to try to make as much elements on the page as quick as I can when this is wet. And now I'm going to have something over here on the right side. I'm going to have something over here. It's still pretty wet. That's good. Okay. Okay, the figures over here. So I'm going to making sure this a little bit higher. Okay, like that. Have something here. For now, I'm gonna take a look at the angle of that coming this way. So that means I already have enough things on the paper. Now I'm gonna do a little reorganize. I'm gonna lift up some of the area. This is need to be lifted up. So this is a good timing. Do a little splash. Just take the water. Okay, here you go. And I'm going to do this. Here you go. Now I'm going to create some illusion of the snowing. Some area may be too late, some area maybe just fine. And after it dry, I'm going to come in to work on the second step and create more interest to the painting. Now the painting already dry. Now I'm coming to reorganize the information. But for example, some of the color coming in a little bit too much. What you can do, just look for exactly what you want to do. Like over here, and I'm going to make this area to become a little bit lighter. So I'm wet this area first. Now I'm using the brush, just back and forth a couple times. Okay, now it already softer and also become lighter. And that's easy. Okay, I'm going to remove a little bit more over here. That's good. Right, it's not hard at all. This probably, I really love those texture, but maybe a little bit, reduce that a little bit. But I don't want to totally remove it. So I'm just moving it a little bit with water. And now it's already soft enough. It's not bothering me too much. And in this area, I'm going to remove some shapes here and the gap. I'm going to show you how to remove the shape. I'm going to have the light over here. I'm going to readjust it. So I can use just the corner of this brush. You see that already look lighter. I'm going to make it even lighter by moving that a little bit, just the hair. Okay, only use the hair. That should be good enough. Okay, just sometimes use the whole brush, sometimes use the corner of the brush, sometimes use half of the brush. That is fine for that. I'm looking for, at the bottom over here, I'm going to just leave one place a little bit lighter. Take a look over here. I'm going to lift it up over here. I'm going to make this to look like the tree, outside of the tree, the gap over here, like that. And that is a little bit lighter and coming over here. And just the brush here. I'm going to make this a little bit lighter. And in fact, those gaps, you don't have to make it so sharp, right? So I'm going to have a little bit shape over here as well. I'm going to put a little shape over here, make it a little bit lighter. Just focus on it. And a few times later, it will look like there's a gap of the tree. Do you see the gap already? Okay, like that. That's a little suggestion of the gap. And I'm going to come over here to look at the rooftop. And the rooftop, I'm going to remove the texture. So I'm going to use the water. A few times later, it will look softer. It's not going to bother you that much, but you don't want to make it totally back to original, that kind of white paper, right? So over here, I'm going to make this, the rooftop, this area a little bit lighter. Okay, now can you believe me? That is easy. Also, the car on the side over here, I'm going to change the shape a little bit. And if you have to, you can remove the whole area. Over here, that's a little bit too hard, this area, right? The first thing I need to do, I'm going to soften it. And then what's the next thing I'm going to do? After this area dry, I overlay a little bit soft color. And that's good enough. As long as it doesn't really have a big jump to your eye, that's just good enough. Okay. And this is as much as you need to do. Couple gap over here. I'm going to make this gap a little bit wider. So I'm going to make this shape a little bit bigger. And just think about light shape, dark shape, light shape, dark shape. So I'm going to come back with the calligraphy brush. And I'm going to have a little bit light color with a little blue over here. When you're looking for color, you're first looking for the color that you already have in the mixing area. I'm going to, from here and going to that, I'm going to put a little suggestion over there. That already convinced yourself and other people, oh, that's the rooftop, right? Okay. What actually you have done is not a rooftop, it's a line. That is the visual element. I only did a line over here. Now I think the line is a bit too obvious. So I'm gonna just shade it a little bit. You see that? Just a little shading over here. That's suggesting the rooftop. It's that how little things that you have to trust yourself. Painting is just too easy to do. Have a little gray color. I'm gonna put a little line over here. Just think about a little observation. And a little line over here. You see that? Because this brush is so sharp, it's very easy to create any suggestion. Like with that, you already see that, oh my God, that's the rooftop. In fact, I don't think about the rooftop. I'm thinking about how can I make the shape. Okay, right here. That's good. Right over there. And on the bottom over here, and make a little bit over here. I'm going to have a little bit kind of disappear. That's fine. Like this. Okay. Now that's good enough in that area. Let's see. You don't have to. I think most of the time we work too hard. You work too hard. Okay. And if there's too much, you soften it. And now I'm gonna looking for like the rooftop over here. I'm gonna show the little rooftop over here. That little shape. And that's easy. And just looking at me. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a contrast. I'm gonna shading outside of that shape. I don't have to paint that shape. I just put a little color over here, like this. You see that? Now I already suggest that little shape over there. Is that right? Do you already see that? Like that. Now coming on this side, I'm gonna have a little few line and suggest also the rooftop and texture. That's good. This brush is very soft, so it won't scratch any of those existing color. And I think you can control also how much you want to suggest the rooftop. And you might not want to suggest too much over there. And I'm going to coming down over here, do a little adjusting. Now take a look. I'm going to, this is a little broken too much. So now I'm going to have a little bit over here, a little bit over there. And here you go. I'm going to put it all the way coming over here. I'm going to keep that little snowflakes effect. So I don't want to draw all over that. And this is good enough. And I'm going to put a little bit over here, color over here. And that's good. So I'm going to use a little lighter color and merge that into here. That's good. So because I don't want it to stand out too much, I'm going to come back over here, have a little color coming, a little bit soft coming down like this. And maybe this a little bit higher. And this is good enough. Over here, I'm also going to have a little bit all about in a contrast. And I'm going to have this shape and this shape. And that's it. And now I suggesting something going on over here. But whether or not what the people feeling is exactly look like what is suggested with the photo reference, that is not a problem. It's okay. It doesn't have to be exactly look like the reference, right? And now the rooftop is done. But you can tell me, is that easy
or just me. It's not really. There's nothing exclusive that only Yong can do it. Anyone can. I'm going to have a little bit shape. And it's all about do you have the confidence in your mind. I think the angle a little bit too much. I'm going to change the angle a little bit in the perspective. Okay, something like that. And maybe this a little bit too sharp. So I'm going to soften that into the shape. And now it's become a little bit subdued. And that's important, like that. And something over here, if you want it, you have a little shape over there that bring that a little bit closer to us. But you don't have to do that much. Okay, that's just good. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to give a little bit shade over here. We're going to separate between the car and the background. And how I'm going to do that, I'm going to just use a very light color, a very soft color like that. Look at that. And what I'm going to do, looking for the shape of the car, I'm going to have it here. Ready? Have a little bit here, like that. And then looking for the shape, the new shape I want. And that suggests the car. Do you see that? This is all in the mind, how you analyze things. And more you paint, you have more solutions. Okay, but the main tool that we use is very contrast. And I'm going to use a little bit lighter color. I don't want to destroy the shape of the tree too much. I'm going to leave a little bit in here, like that. I'm going to have a little bit soft, and I'm going to have blend the color outside over here. That's what we want. And now that transition, we also finish building it. Okay, a little bit like that. I'm going to have a little bit, extend the color a little bit. Okay, that's good. Right. And that relationship is already there. That's just good. That's good. I'm going to have maybe a little bit darker in here. Just dropping the color and make it look like that. That's fine. Now I'm going to come in all the way on this side. Okay, look at building up the side over here. And then I'm going to have even a little suggestions for, there's a line coming over here, but I'm going to put the line over here for now. And then maybe on this angle. That will be fine. I'm just going to keep the line like that. That will be fine. And I'm going to come in on the side here and take a look at the railing. And then here you go. I'm going to put a little color here and observe the shape. A lot of time is the reason that we don't see it because we don't want to see it. We kind of, oh, this is too complicated. I'm not going to look at it. It's made me dizzy. Okay, I don't want to be dizzy. So I'm not going to looking at it. And so mostly is in our mind and blocking our action. So trust, if you focus on one shape at a time, and you can do exactly what I'm doing. There's just no secret. Okay, right there. Okay, like that. I'm going to put a little shape over here. And you have to force yourself to analyze it. I know it's the critical thinking is always make us headache. But you're doing it more, and then you're going to do better and better. And doing it more, you're going to find a way to analyze things faster. Okay, a little bit smaller and smaller. Here you go. Now the railing, it will look like the railing. I'm going to have a little bit on the top over here. And have a little bit round shape. Look at that. A little skinnier shape coming over here. And then a little bit more round shape like that. And a little bit shape over here too. And there you go. A little bit like that. And moving it. That's good enough. And again. And think about how much, how quick that's going away to be smaller and smaller. And also you don't want to look like too clear in the background. So I'm going to have a little bit lighter color. Okay, something a little simple. And even just like let it disappear into the background. And I'm going to have something a little bit darker over here in the middle. Okay, like that. It's all suggesting, you know. It's all the power of visual suggesting. We need to looking for the visual element, like that. Okay, now I'm gonna put maybe a little bit darker color right at the front here. Okay, like that. I'm gonna have a little bit darker. Here you go. And also you're gonna check in with yourself. Are you overdoing it? If you're doing it too much, it may be ruin the whole painting effect. And I think this is good enough for the railing. Okay, what's the next thing I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give a little shape of the car. How about that? I'm gonna take this color here, and now I'm gonna come in here. This is supposed to the rooftop, so I'm gonna keep that to the rooftop. I'm gonna have a little big shape over here. Here you go. Now I'm gonna enforce the suggestions of the back mirror, like that. And now think about inside the color. Just focus on the color and the value of the color. You don't think anything else. You think, oh, this is a car, there's a car, there's a car. It's wasting our time. And we don't want to think about a thing that is not helpful for us to capture the illusion. What I'm trying to capture is this color. Why is this color? What's the shape of this color? Okay. I know the process. You need to do faster. It take time to practice. But you know the way to get to it. It's just a matter of fact. Anyone can. Okay, like that. It sounds like a good news and a bad news at the same time, huh? And how long is it going to get to it? Okay, be patient. That's why we're meeting every week. And just try to be here. Okay, and here you go. I'm going to put the shape, suggesting the wheel. So that's good. And looking for the shape. Don't think about it as a car. It's not going to be helpful. Okay, like that. And on the side over here, now I'm going to make the bottom over here a little bit blue. And over here, suggesting that is the side of the car. I put a little color here. And at the same time, when I leave the shape around, you see the lighter shape. Just suggesting there is something bump out. Okay, and outside over here can be a little bit outside because the car in the lower part, it actually is a little bit wider. Now you can do this. We have the understanding of the object, right? So over here, I'm going to put the blue color. See that? You just think about this area. I'm going to suggesting the side of the car better. It's just you need to focus on finding the shape and the color. Some people may be, because they have been practicing for so many years, they can get the shape faster, but doesn't mean that you are not capable to do that. It just take a little time to practice your skill. On the back over here. So by having this color in here, and also a little bit darker color on here, I'm going to shape this shape a little bit more. Now I suggested actually this a car, and this is actually a very modern car, I believe. Okay, have it a little bit darker over here, just little by little, and you can get the impression. I'm going to have this a little bit longer, have the shape over here like this, because I'm going to leave a little gap at the bottom. I'm going to make it look like a catch the shadow under the car, but it doesn't look like the car in the reference, so that's okay. Actually, I would like to have that car. Is interesting. I'm going to have the other car, I'm going to change it. I'm going to have a little bit warmer on this car. Okay, how about that? Have a little red, just not that much red, just a little red, suggesting. You see the way I'm using the brush? Just put it like this, coming down. You have a natural blending already of that. That's good. And also the mirror, I'm going to have a little bit blue over here. I'm going to suggest that shape for the glass. And that is how they look like a car. And that will be fine. And you know what left we need to do. This already dry, close enough. So I'm gonna have the little line over here, still a little soft, that area. So I'm gonna have a little bit suggestions for a little line over here. See that? Like this. There's a little fuzzy, it's fine. Like over here. Now turning around. And then coming back over here. Still have the time to make that a little bit darker, a little bit clear right here. That's good. Like that. Even shade it a little bit on here. That's good, right? And we'll prepare that, and we're going to put the main objects on. Now the other thing I want to do, I'm going to have the whole area at the front over here, because a little bit away from the light source. So I'm going to have a little bit blue color over here. It's just a little bit dimmer, get a little bit lighter and lighter. So I'm going to have this putting it under the car like that. Now it's going to also reduce the contrast at the front over here. I'm going to have that all the way from the left to the right. And those we can learn how to using the elements to communicate our message. Okay, I'm going to put it here like that. I just change a little bit lighter, brighter blue color. Now I'm just going to use the water. And now you can have a better dynamic feeling about the ground. And then now I fix it. And after this dry, I'm going to have little tracks. And also over here, I'm going to have a little bit light color coming out. I'm thinking about that it has a little bit catch the shadow coming out from here like that. But I'm going to make it softer by just use the water. That's good. I'm going to have that over there. I'm going to use the flat brush. I'm going to just make this a little bit lighter. So give a little bit less flat. Now there's a little bit softer already. And I'm going to break the shape at the bottom. When you have the feeling and you're looking for the information in the reference, it maybe give you a more relevance evidence. Okay. And then you can do it. I'm going to make that a little bit outside over here like that. And now the shape a little bit more variety already by lifting up the color a little bit. Now this is no longer so hard. I'm going to suggest the track for the car. So I'm going to use some light color. You don't have to use so dark, right? So I'm going to start over here. A little bit smaller. Thinner. And then coming over here. I'm going to start over here. Here you go. I'm going to coming through on this side. Here you go. I'm going to have it like this. And maybe a little bit over here. And then coming over here. Here you go. Like that. Now we suggest the track on the road. And I'm going to make this a little bit lighter. And then why I leave the gap over there, because I see that a little bit warmer. So I'm going to just use a little bit red mixed into the color. Like that. This is the observational part. It makes you feel like, oh wow, how do you think about that? When you think about that a lot, and you can get it, right? That have a nice distraction dividing the road. Now I'm going to have a little bit detail on the side over here. I'm going to have it a little bit details over here. Here you go. Okay, a couple line like that. I'm going to have a little bit more blue color on this side. Have some catch the shadow into that. Just soften that with the brush like that. That's great. And also on the side over here, you can also add a little bit catch the shadow from the sky. Okay, a little bit texture. Put it over here. Now I'm gonna put a little bit color, and underneath the car I'm gonna have a little bit more suggestions for the catch shadow. There you go.
That's a little shadow. There's a little dark color underneath. And here you go. Now, finally, I'm going to have a little suggestion at the bottom of the car and catch the shadow underneath the car. Okay, now change the shape a little bit. Here you go. It just pay attention, be patient. I'm going to have a little catch the shadow. Just looking at the shape. There's a little bit for the mirror, right? That on top over here, I'm going to put a little color over there, and then a little bit darker shadow for the wheel at the front. Okay, like that. And then on this side, I'm going to make this side have a little bit darker so that you can see by the contrast, you can see the wheel much better. But you don't have to do the wheel, you just do the shape. Okay, you suggest it. Okay, that's good. Now take a look at this car. I don't need that much suggestion because this car is a little farther away from this car. So if I'm gonna have a less compete, I would just make less contrast over here and just put a little bit the thing that I have to do and put it over there. Oh, that's good enough. Okay, so you have the priority. And for the rooftop for this car, I'm going to use this flat brush. Now I'm going to open this up. Just side moving the brush like this. Just using the side movement. And it's already enough suggestions now. You see that? Now I have the rooftop of the car. That's good. And one more thing I really want to do, I want to add a little red-orange color. Just the red color, maybe. And a little bit. Put it over here in the mirror. And that is going to make it a huge difference. Do you see? This is gonna face into the light. And I have this kind of reflected the warm color to our eyes. And now I'm gonna come to the roof. My eyes always kind of running around, rotating. I'm gonna put a little triangle over here. And kind of like give a little bit more shape. But that shape doesn't need to be perfect. We're gonna working on the two very important elements of the painting. One's the light post, one is just the main object. First, I'm going to start something a little bit lighter. I'm going to take a look at the legs would be here. So based on where's the legs, I'm going to coming up over here. So you don't have to paint it at the beginning. It will be great to paint it out everything, but the painting process is like a moving forward. And then you relate the size of the person to the car and other objects. So I'm going to move this about the shoulders about here. Okay, like that. And then the arm on this side, like that. And then the middle of the figures here. Actually, it's just not bad. Like that. And then the top, have a little bit on the neck over here. And then on the top over here, we have the head. Okay, that's good. Now we're done the painting. I'm going to paint it with this lighter color first. I'm going to paint the shape of the person. Like that. That's good. And then coming up, now I'm going to fill it in with a little darker color. Like this. And a little dark over here. Okay, you see that? It's good. This brush, it just has enough spring to always come back to the form. So you don't need to worry about that you have to constantly reshaping. And then the shape of that, see, looks like the tail is be in the back. Okay, let the people use their imagination to connect all the dots into the line. Okay,
Now I'm gonna make you see how much contrast we're gonna give it to, but we don't have to use the colors too dark to do that. I'm gonna come in over here because the surrounding, it just is a little bit very soft colors around. Okay, like that. Here you go. Now I have the focal point. Now we'll come back to, let's take a look at the ground. I'm gonna have a little bit softer, showing a little cast the shadow, and that's good enough suggestions. And now we're coming to the head, and I'm gonna have a little bit more light brown color like that, and observe what is gonna help you. I think there's too intense. I'm gonna come back to a little gray. That's good enough. I'm gonna put looking for the shape, and you see that that's a little shape in the middle of it because the light is right above her. You want to think about how much attention you want the people pay to a certain object from the bottom. I'm going to put it here first. Just a little shape. Okay, now I'm going to have something all the way coming up here vertically. Okay, here you go. Oh, beautiful, right? That's simple. And the top over here, I'm gonna make it a little bit higher, like that. And the top over here, have a little bit on the top here, like that. Red color. And take a look. I'm gonna get it around this shape, like that. A little bit. Get it around. There's the light. Okay, now have it blend it around like this. Right? You're feeling the light. And then I'm gonna have a little yellow color in the middle. Get the clean yellow color. I'm just gonna put it right here. A little yellow color right over there. If it merged to the outside, that is fine. Okay, like that.